Hey, welcome to Eat This, Drink That. I don't like saying hey at the beginning of the videos, but I just did my first one. We got another great how-to with cocktails. Steve is going to show us one of the classics. So I hope you're enjoying our tropical drink content so far and that you're subscribing to our YouTube channel. We got Ali. My name's Ryan, and let's go with Steve. Steve, what is your drink that for today?
Well, I got to give a little credit to Ali for the tropical styled shirt to go with today's cocktail. I wasn't thinking, so I could have put on a white linen shirt for this. This is another Hemingway
Steve.
drink. Vu Carré, I think, was another Hemingway drink that we did way before.
One of them.
The Mojito. This is also Cuban in origin. Hemingway loved it. Spent a lot of time in Cuba. I think this drink goes back pretty far. Could be late 1800s, early 1900s. So we can call it an original cocktail. But there's a lot of things in this cocktail. It's not just a simple, 3-ingredient like, say, a daiquiri, because we're adding mint leaves. And we're muddling again. So I have my muddler. You can also use a masher on the end of a bar spoon, but I prefer the little nails at the end of the muddler. I don't know why I bought a wood one. Probably because I think, this just keeps flavors. Who knows? But they make metal ones too. They make all kinds of different materials. Yeah, I just like the feel.
I like
a rolling pin. Like a rolling pin for pasta, and I want wood. I like the feel. I have a quartered lime because we're muddling with the mint. Our mint here, fresh mint. I got this at Whole Foods. I have to be honest, I'm not 100% keen on how fresh this mint is. I was a little annoyed at Whole Foods, but whatever. It's still fresh mint. It's just not the freshest of fresh mint. So the cocktail itself is easy and simple. It's 2 ounces of rum. We're going to muddle in the lime and the mint with a little bit of fine sugar to help with the muddling, and then simple syrup, and that's it. So 2 ounces of rum, 3/4 ounces of simple syrup. While I'm prepping, we can kind of talk. Let me show you a couple things that I'm doing. I'm using a Collins glass. These are my grandmother's. I love these glasses. I'm going to fill this with ice. You can use crushed ice if you want, or pellet ice. I'm not. I like, nicer, smaller cubes, but I don't want too much dilution. So I'm going to prep the shaking ice. We'll just set aside here. I'm going to prep the glass. These are the size cubes I'm using for the glass. Let's just dump this in to try to make as little noise as possible. So I'm filling it too. I want this filled, packed with ice. Okay. Now, basically all I'm doing, I'm going to throw the limes in. A little bit of sugar. I'm just using half a teaspoon, but I'm using super fine sugar. Because if you remember, I don't like texture in my cocktails, like pulp, and I don't like stuff floating in my cocktail. So super fine, so it kind of dissolves. I'm not using that much. I've seen recipes that use a full teaspoon. I bet there's recipes out there that use a tablespoon. I don't want that much sugar. Now, let's talk. I'm going to peel some mint. You want 10, 15 of these little mint leaves. So I'm going to start peeling these off. I'm not going to have the stem. I don't want too much stem in there. I don't know why. It's more of me being picky. Probably doesn't do anything either way. I'm also going to save a piece of mint sprig for the garnish, for a garnish. So I'll set a little bit of that aside. So basically,
making this is a bit mind-numbing, isn't it?
Yeah. You're relaxing while you're making these cocktails. It's hot outside. It's a little humid.
No.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm gonna, you got some sort of meat in the back. So there's there's two Cuban dishes I know of. A mojo pork stew, or a roasted
Mhm.
pork, and a chicken
Yeah.
stew. Those would be great with these. I basically just pulled out 4 sprigs of mint, and I'm just peeling those off. So you're
Okay.
relaxing, you're peeling, you're prepping. You got your food. Things are grilling in the background. You might be smoking something.
Mhm.
Um, Again, we can stick with lots of fishes and chickens, and there's some sweetness in this drink. We're only 3/4 ounce of simple syrup, but I got a half a teaspoon of fine sugar. This is a little sweeter,
Mhm.
so you can
Okay.
handle spice with this.
I
Okay.
noticed a little formula with these drinks, Steve. Tell me if I'm right here. It seems like most of these drinks have 2 ounces of spirit and 3/4 of simple syrup each time.
Yeah, that's me.
Yes. Yeah.
I lowered. I'm guessing. I haven't looked at that many recipes, but there's recipes that have a full ounce of simple syrup. That's too much for me. I want to taste the
Okay.
spirit. So the spirit's higher. You got 2 ounces. You're not pouring an ounce and a half. Um,
Right.
you have less sugar, so your spirit is going to taste first. Yeah, no, we did an episode on the Caipirinha, and we talked about this. So because of the half a teaspoon of because we muddled that one too, but without the mint, we had a half a
Right.
teaspoon of
Right.
fine sugar and 3/4 ounces of simple syrup, and then because you're getting more lime, you're getting probably a full ounce. The components just shifted. Like in the daiquiri, the rum was the first thing you tasted. That was in the front. And the Caipirinha,
Right.
if I remember correctly, it was the lime juice, then the syrup, the sugar, sweetness, then the grassiness from the rum. By the way, we're not using cachaça. We're back to rum. You could use a Cuban
Mm.
rum that is very clean and very kind of neutral. I like, as you guys know, the Plantation 3 Star, which is Jamaica,
Mm.
Trinidad, and Barbados. A little more flavor. We're back into the spectrum of a little more nuance and a little more complexity. So I'm
Okay.
not adding that until I muddle for a while. So keep talking about that balance. But
Cool.
yes, most of my
That's
recipes
what's
are 2 ounces.
interesting. That's actually what's been interesting about since we started with the daiquiri and moved on from the caipirinha now to the mojito is that, I feel like prior to all this, when we think about these drinks, I think Ryan and I were saying like, oh, it's always like some strawberry daiquiri. You're tasting the mixed elements and the rum was just kind of in the background. You've created your recipes that you've actually tweaked are really emphasizing tasting the spirit.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I'm like, it's kind of weird. Like, I kind of know what rum tastes like. It's weird. Mostly I know what dark rum tastes like. I have
Yeah.
no idea what light rum tastes like because it's always been some weird Bacardi thing. And again, it's for
Processed.
whatever I've made has been for the mixer. I mean, that's the thing with these drinks. You're always tasting the mixer,
Hmm.
not
Right.
the
You have a
actual liquor
you have a
itself.
rum
It's
and
very
Coke. You have a rum and pre-made pineapple, a pina colada. It's always
yeah.
processed sugar.
And even pineapple, like pineapple is so. I actually just had some pineapple because I kept, a little while ago, and I was like, man, I could craving pineapple right now. It is funny; those are such strong flavors, right?
Mhm.
I think that's what's actually cool about a mojito is that mint isn't so overwhelming.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is interesting. You
Now
actually taste a
that
little
just
bit more
made
of
me
that.
think of something when you guys were talking. When you see this drink, so first let's talk about rum again. You can throw in cachaça, you can throw in, um, you know, all the different countries. You could spend a while shifting or sifting through all the different styles, different countries, the base ingredient, either molasses or sugarcane juice. you want to think about it. You don't want to do all this in one evening because it's a lot to, taste. But start tasting different countries, start tasting different styles. You have your silvers, your age, your dark. Yeah. So the other thing that you guys made me think of, when you've seen a mojito made in a restaurant, at least the way I've seen it, they're doing the mojito in the glass they're serving
In the glass.
Right.
Okay. I don't like stuff floating in my drinks. So I don't want mint leaves
stuck in
coming
your
through
teeth.
while I'm sipping.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
I'm
there's not going to be
training-
mint in the mojito? In
Huh?
the finished mojito, there's not going to be mint in there?
I have the garnish, the mint, and there'll be mint pieces, but I'm not going to have whole pieces of mint while I'm trying to sip my drink. I want to sip the cocktail. I want to enjoy the cocktail. So I will be straining
This is the ETDT style of mojito.
That's just me. So I hate
He
pulp
really
and
is
orange
fine
juice.
dining with this stuff. He really is going for I mean, you're having that mojito, and in the end of the day, the glass, after about 4 or 5, your glass looks like an aquarium. You know what I mean? You're like, how does this salad?
Yeah, I always felt like mojitos were like chewy. I'd be, oh, this is a chewy mojito. I felt like there was a lot of stuff going on in my mouth.
After a while, you're just eating the mint. Like, this is like a salad. No need to eat something anyways.
I think that's gross. I don't want to eat a cocktail. I want to. I want to drink it.
It's so true. And then the worst is when you clean it up and you're like, ugh, look at this mess. It's like somebody drowned a cilantro farm.
Yeah.
So,
true. I got a couple additional things to add to this.
All right.
Right now, all I've done is muddle with sugar and mint and the limes. If you're doing a backyard barbecue and you're doing a bunch of prep, you can do some pre-prep with this. You can just take a whole bunch of limes, a whole bunch of mint, a bunch of sugar, muddle everything, have it ready to go. Now I'm going to add my shaking ice. I'm going to add my rum, 2 ounces of rum, Plantation 3. There is a Plantation 5 too that adds 2 other components, and then they do a dark. They do an ultra dark, I think it's called. So 2 ounces. Then simple syrup, 3/4 of an ounce. You do not have to follow my recipe either on that with the simple syrup. You can go less, you can go half, you can go more. I just like the way this balances out.
I like 2 3/4. I think that's a cool little consistency to these tropical drinks that you're doing.
And it's funny, I didn't even realize until you said it. They all have that same, it's 2 ounces. I like 2 ounce drinks. Why mess with an ounce and a half cocktail when you can pour 2? I didn't even realize about the 3/4. So mint, lime.
So you could pre-muddle this minus the rum, right? And make it in advance. Is that how that works?
I mean, you could pre-muddle it without the rum and the simple syrup, or you could just do all this together and have it sit and just kind of, soak up all these ingredients while you're sitting in the refrigerator and before your guests come over. And then you can start pouring it, shaking and all that. The difference here, what's that, Ryan? Okay, the difference really is the shaking, because you're not going to shake 64 ounces. So I would muddle all the ingredients minus the spirit and the simple syrup, set that aside, have that ready. Then you can start putting little components together for your final, you take out some of the lime and the mint and the juice, pour it in. Anytime you pre-batch and anytime you make larger batches, it's not going to be as good as the one single recipe as you made. So play around with it, see what you think. So it's lime juice again. So we're shaking for 30 seconds. I have my prepped glass here. I need to, the ice started to already melt because I've been talking so much. So I'm going to strain that out. I don't want extra water in there.
Dilution.
That's, Who wants an over diluted drink?
So this is a This is a highball, right?
We're shaking. Yeah, so Collins glass or a highball or whatever you might want to call this. I just love these glasses. Like I said, these were my grandmother's. These are old. She was old. So I'm gonna double strain just because I really don't want a bunch of mint in my cocktail.
Yeah.
He's adamant about that. Wow.
I expected this with the last drink, but yes, good to see the double strain. We are making sure.
I want to see this thing. Yeah, it is. This is Psycho Steve Greer again. He's just like, there can't be any fragment. Let me see this glass. Let's see how mint free it is.
It's a lot of deal.
I'll show you what's in the strainer itself. And I forgot one key ingredient. It's sitting on the counter. I got to grab it. And it's an ingredient that you do not have to add, or it's up to you. But so, can you see how much still came through the strainer? There's a strainer in that shaker.
Oh, okay.
There's still a whole boatload of mint and lime and pulp, and then I don't know if you can see in the cocktail.
So just raise it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Any guesses on the? What he's grabbing, Con? Do you think he's grabbing a? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's dried tarragon. He's gonna turn all this straining garbage into nothing because he's gonna dump dried tarragon in there.
I feel like we need the cane, the sprig of sugar cane.
Well, I got a little mint that's gonna go in there as a garnish. I got a little lime twist. You do not have to add this. Right now, you could drink this cocktail.
It's a meat straw. It's going to be the Bloody Mary meat straw.
No, it's much simpler. There's a lot of texture in this cocktail. And that sugar is really coming through. With the caipirinha, the first ingredient that you tasted, or I tasted, was lime juice. In the daiquiri, the first ingredient I tasted was the rum. That was the most forward ingredient. In this, the sweetness and the mint are the two most forward ingredients. So I am going to add a little club soda. So that is why I'm using a highball. Yeah, you don't have to. You can pour this into an old-fashioned, a regular rocks glass and drink it like a mojito that you've seen at restaurants that prep it in the glass. You can do that. I don't do that. I want it in a highball, and I'm going to add a little bit of club soda. Okay. It's going to be maybe 3 ounces. I'm going to go to the top. This is adding more texture to this.
Because most of the mojitos definitely have an effervescence. They have bubbles.
Yeah. And it cuts through the simple syrup that is really the first ingredient. I got a little sprig of mint, so you still get your pretty mint but I'm not chewing on it. And then I got my lime twist. Now I have this really refreshing, bright, pretty cocktail that I can sit while I'm cooking in the backyard. Now
it strikes me as a hot day cocktail.
Yeah.
Like when it's hot out, especially when you add the club soda, the carbonated water. It's a hot day.
Sure.
I want some chips and salsa with this. Some good old pico de gallo and some salty chips.
I like that. I like pico de gallo.
Roasted plantains with a whole big dish of avocados instead of chips. Use some sort of roasted plantains for
chips and guac.
Yeah.
Chips and guac.
Yeah.
Chips and guac all day.
Salty.
Yeah.
Love it. I think most people watching this have probably had a mojito or seen someone drink a mojito. I definitely like the idea of the straining, Steve. I think that's I've enjoyed my mojitos that were filled with all the nonsense in the past, but I like the concept of getting all that out of there. You don't want to be talking to a friend and you have a mint leaf like in your tooth because you've just been chewing on your mojito. So
no, you do not. And now think about some of the dishes we were talking about. Spicier Cuban stews and roasted meats. And we can go straight back to all the fish that we've talked about, even your crazy Bengali seafood curry with the buffalo fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I can't remember.
Something for me. This is a drink where you're using a lot of ice. This is almost a drink where it's like this guy's he's about two things, right? Never too sweet. That's part of the Greer signature, and he's so cautious about dilution. There's a lot of dilution potential here with the ice in the glass and adding the fizzy water. That's what my kid calls carbonated water, so I call it that too. And it does strike me as this is a hot day cocktail. Maybe you got to keep it cold because it's hot out. You got to keep it hydrated because it's hot out. I think of hot day food. I'm thinking of almost like what flavorful cold dishes could I have with this? I have some ideas to rethink guacamole, gentlemen. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds delicious.
Steve, thank you for the mojito.
Yeah.
I love the strained mojito. I think that's a great concept. And we found a little eat this, drink that formula, 2 ounces of spirit, 3/4 of a simple syrup, and then add a bunch of nonsense and then strain it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Strain everything.
And there's one other ratio to add to that. It's almost always one line. It's almost always one line. So 2 ounces of rum,
there we go.
3/4 ounces simple syrup, and 1 lime is going to give you anywhere from 3/4 of an ounce of juice up to an ounce, depending on the size of the lime. So you can play around and add different things, and you're muddling mint, and you're using different rums or cachaça. All 3 of the last cocktails that we've done are very similar. You're just changing or adding one thing.
Yeah, really cool. Thank you, Steve, so much. Thank you, Ali, for another how-to on tropical drinks from Steve and from Eat This, Drink That. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon. We got another episode coming. Here we go.
All right.